Happy Saturday to all of you and welcome to Rise and Thrive. I am your host, Diana Fumbilwa. I'm back this week, super excited because this is our last Rise and Thrive for the year. But that's not the exciting part. The exciting part is that we are still in our month of preparation, and today I have come to help you with a few things that you can do to make sure that you are better prepared for 2023. One of the things I really like about the end of the year is that you get an opportunity to find closure. Even if it's not completion, you actually come to a point where you look back and begin to reflect on what you have done throughout the year, how that has impacted everything that makes you who you are, from your personality, from your job, from your calling, to your purpose, to your family influence, to your church influence, to your work influence. You begin to take account of those things and you find a point of closure. And you look back and begin to think about ways that you can do better in those areas that you haven't done well, and ways you can actually celebrate and continue doing those things that have worked out well. But before I go into what I will be sharing with you today, I just want to let you know, Rise and Thrive family, that this is the last of the Rise and Thrive program for this year. I will be back again in February. So January, I'm taking time to rest, to reflect, and to just allow God to love on me and to just speak a fresh word for 2023. So December is our month of preparation, and we find our theme in Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 27, which says, "Prepare your outside work, make it fit for yourself in the field, and afterwards build your house." So you can never do any great work without proper preparation. I think we should start from that footing. And I want you to understand that before anything else, before you even think of building anything, you need to make sure that your plans are aligned with God's purpose for your life, because there's no use building something that God is not in. We are reminded in Psalm 127 and verse 1, which says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build labor in vain." So whatever you're planning for 2023, make sure that you take time aside by yourself. Take a sabbatical if you have to, take some time out. I would recommend take a day, a whole day where you are undistracted, where you are with nobody at all, whether spouse, children, friends, work colleagues, business partners, anybody at all. Take this time on your own and allow God to speak to you. You see, we've gone through the year and perhaps you've encountered your ups and downs, and so many things have happened. And it's very, very possible that you may have lost your clarity on how the voice of God sounds. It is very important as you come to the end of the year to actually put yourself in that place where God can just begin to speak to you again. And where you have derailed from His purpose, He is able to speak to you and redirect you back onto the right track. And where you have felt you have been weak, God is able to strengthen you. So take time out and make sure that you as a person align yourself with God's purpose. Before you even make a step into the new year, understand that it's important to realign with God, because that's what gives you the assurance that even when things go wrong in 2023, you have somewhere to go back to and say, "God, this is what I heard you say. What are you saying now?" You have a point of reference because you know that you started with God. And so you can go back to God and ask Him when things seem not to be going the way that you expect them to go according to the plan that God has given you. So it's very important in your reflection to begin to tell God how you would like Him to shape you and mold you. You see, we can have all sorts of skills, all sorts of expertise, But ultimately, it is that God factor that will make your plans prosper in 2023. Another thing I want you to really be serious about is to make a proper plan for the year. Now, we've already addressed the fact that you cannot plan outside God. Remember, the Bible says many are the plans in man's heart, but the will of God prevails. So once you've aligned yourself with the will of God, it means that your plans that you put in God's hands in accordance to his plan for your life cannot fail. They can be delayed, but they will surely come to pass. The Bible also tells us that though a vision tarries, wait for it shall surely come to pass. And in the end, it shall speak. So what this simply means is that if you stay consistent and consistently aligning yourself with God, whatever you do will finally speak for itself. You won't have to announce it. You won't have to coax it out of yourself to show that you are doing well or you are accomplishing great things. But the vision itself, when it comes to fruition, will speak for itself. But you need to make sure that you have a proper plan and you prepare. You know, preparation is very important for any project, like I already said. And this is what Jesus points out in Luke chapter 14 and verse 28 to 30. And here's what it says. For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it? Lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. See, what Jesus is saying here is that without proper planning, you end up disappointing yourself, but also becoming a laughing stock to the onlookers, to the people even that follow you, that look up to you. So it's important that you consider the cost of what you're about to do in 2023, and that involves planning. You need to plan how far you're willing to go with the vision that you are establishing. So I will turn now to how you can actually put up a plan that will be solid and achievable and yield the results that you want in 2023. So I will go over 6 things and I will be done. First of all, I want to start with a quote from John Wooden, who said, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. So this simply means that your preparation in this month of preparation, in this month of December, has a bearing on how well you do in 2023. That is whether there's the God factor involved or not. Just humanly speaking, if you don't plan, you are actually planning to fail. So what are the things that you can include in your planning that will help you execute a good outcome in 2023? Number 1, you need to develop objectives. Without objectives, you don't know where you are going. You don't know what is important and what's not important along the way, simply because you don't have a goal. So objectives have to do with what you really want to achieve. What will the final outcome look like? You need to have a mental picture of what your goal looks like. If it's buying a house, picture what area you want that house to be. Picture how much you want it to cost, what you want it to look like, and that is an objective, that you want to buy a house in a certain area. If it's a business, you have to have an objective. Maybe you want to increase your sales. You have to be specific with your goal. What number of sales you want to achieve, how much money you want to make out of your sales in the coming year. So you have to have objectives. If you don't have an aim, you can never hit any target. You will not even know when you have arrived at that target, because there's no way you are going to be able to measure it. Number 2, develop tasks to meet objectives. So you've got your goal, which is your objective, what you're trying to achieve. Break it down into achievable tasks. What are the things that you can do as building blocks that will lead to the full completion of what you're trying to accomplish as a goal? What are the stages that you can actually, undertake or delegate that will lead you to the ultimate goal? If you don't have tasks, you will be chewing on more than what you can handle at that particular time. And you need to know who has those strengths that will help you execute those tasks in the best possible and most professional way. The third thing you're supposed to do in your planning process is to determine what is needed in terms of resources. I've already touched on this. Who is the person that is experienced in what you're trying to do at every stage of your planning, every stage of your process? So if you're building a house, who is the best architect? Who is the best bricklayer? Who is the best electrician? When you break down your tasks into those kind of categories, it is easier to actually execute them and achieve your objective. The fourth thing is create a timeline. This is very important, and I think this is where most people drop the ball. What is the timeline of your plan? Because when it comes to the implementation stage, you will look back at your plan and check if you are still on target, if you are still moving with the time that you have allocated for each task. For example, if you say, I'm going to build a foundation of my house and I want this process to last for a month, so by February I should be finished with the foundation of the house. When you look back to assess your progress, you will be working with that time frame. And when you put a time frame in place, it's not to put pressure on you, but it's to encourage you to actually do the work. Because when there's no timeline, when there's no start or finish date of something, whenever becomes the finish date, whenever becomes the start date. And you know what that means? It simply means it may never get done. So a time frame is very important in your planning process. When do you want to finish a certain task by? How are you going to extend the time if you don't finish at that particular time? And how does that affect the rest of the process to achieving your objective? Number 3, determine your tracking and assessment. It's very important to review what you are doing. So in your planning, include how you are going to track your progress, how you're going to assess whether you are meeting your goals or not. This is very important because then it allows you at any given time to readjust your plan. Now, understand that when you draw up a plan, it can be readjusted at any time. But when you have a full picture of what your end goal should be like, it's easy for you to adjust time frames within the overall time of the project. So when you determine a tracking and assessment protocol, this helps you to remain on task. But not only that, it helps you assess the quality of work that you are doing. Because without assessing the work, you can build really fast and achieve the time factor and resource factor. You use the time, you use the other resources, but you will be building probably something that is not of a standard that you are desiring to build. So this stage is very important in the planning. You need to have a tracking of where your resources are being well utilized or where they're actually being wasted. Because you can come to an end of a project and actually discover that you've spent more than you planned for, and perhaps you've even gone into borrowing. So it's important to have a tracking and assessment system and include this in your planning. And finally, number 6, finalize your plan and distribute it to your team. If you are working with a team, this is the point where you consult your team as you finalize the plan. Why should you consult your team? The reason is the team that you work with are the ones that are the experts in those particular departments that they work. very important to tap into that resource, because they are the people that see the groundwork. They are the people that see the challenges that are involved in those particular departments, and you can draw great wisdom from that and adjust your plan accordingly. There are certain costs that are hidden that you may not think about, but these people that you work with, because they are experts in those areas, will be able to highlight those kind of hidden risks. So in finalizing your plan, talk to someone about it. Consult someone that is an expert at each task level, and include their wisdom in that planning. So I really hope that this has been helpful, and you can use these stages in any type of plan. Today, I've just used the example of building a house, but it could be building a career, building a different kind of business. It could be anything. These 6 steps in planning can be applied. So I thought I should come on here and really say, Merry Christmas. You can do this. You've got this. Prepare well. And, like I said in the beginning, begin with God. Include God in your plan. And when things don't go according to plan, you have God to fall back on and pick you up so that you can continue to run the race in 2023. And before I go, allow me to thank everyone that has been a part of Rise and Thrive in 2022. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your partnership. Every single person, from my guests who have appeared on Rise and Thrive and come to share their wisdom so generously, thank you to all the followers, subscribers, and those that have just tuned in to listen as a one-off. Thank you. And those that have prayed for this program in the background, you know who you are. Thank you so much to our prayer partners, and I am just overwhelmed with joy. I could not do this by myself. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has partnered with me on Rise and Thrive. And above all, I just want to thank our Heavenly Father for giving me the passion and giving me the vision for Rise and Thrive. This is His work. This is His doing, and it's marvelous in my eyes. So from me, it's have a Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. And I will see you when I come back in February. I pray that God will watch over you, that any hidden danger will be so far from you. It will be removed from you and your loved ones. I pray that God will just grant you the joy that only comes from Him, that in this festive season you will reflect on how much He loves you and how much He has in store for you in this coming year. I tell you, we are in for great things in 2023. I don't know about you, but I am super excited because the God that I serve is a God of purpose. He is a God of promise. He is a God who never fails. He is a God who has promised never to leave us nor forsake us. So I encourage you that in this month of preparation, with a few days left, you can still slot in your requests to God of anything that you have desired Him to do with you, through you, and for you in 2023. So from me, full of joy and love for all of you out there, it's goodbye and God bless you.